getting back into the conversations, into the talking head, into the inspirations. I was traveling for the past 4 weeks. I was in Colorado for 3 and then Alabama for 1, doing client work, hanging out with some people I'm helping out with their social media, giving frameworks and structures so as to not feel overwhelmed and lost in the social media landscape. It's something I'm doing. It's something I do. So it's exciting and I'm having a blast doing it. And one of the things that was really coming up for me during the past few weeks is really stepping into the multiverse of your brand. The multiverse of your brand. What does that look like? What does that mean? There's so many different platforms these days. It's exhausting. I think everybody hates it. I hate it. Get offline, go into the woods and touch the earth, first and foremost, as always. And with the multiverse of platforms that are available, there's a multiverse of options available as to how to express yourself. And really this gets us pretty quickly into our parts work. It gets us into how we show up, how we express ourselves. Do we feel insecure in this way of expressing ourselves? Do we feel excited about that way of expressing ourselves? Do we feel overwhelmed with this way of expressing ourselves? The content creation will show you where your emotional pole is at when it comes to expressing, and when it comes to letting your voice out, and when it comes to sharing your ideas, sharing your art, that kind of thing. Instagram is a place where the algorithm has its own agenda. The algorithm has its own agenda on Instagram, meaning I've really noticed that a lot of the stuff that a lot of us are putting out doesn't get any traction. And it's not because there's not information there. It's not because there's not beautiful art there. It's not because it's not something we want to say or share. My photography is one of these things. It's like I put up my photography and it just doesn't do well on Instagram. And what I'm realizing, well, not what I'm realizing, but what I've known for a while is that I am not playing the Instagram's algorithm game when it comes to my photography. And you can apply that to whatever you do. Maybe you're a coach, maybe you're a fitness coach, maybe you do pottery, maybe you do painting, whatever you do, music, I don't care. How you're producing your content and how well it does is not dependent on what kind of artist you are. It's dependent upon if you're playing the algorithm's game. And this immediately gets us into a conversation of I don't want to make my art based around what the algorithm is telling me to do. Totally get that, totally honor that. Take your time. You don't need to change what you're doing until you're ready to shift into more publicity. You don't need to change what you're doing at all, ever, unless you want to begin to start to make more of a numbers impact with your brand, with your archetype, with your publicity. And there's a strategy that instead of going to content to create what you think you should create, you're going to content to create what is trendy in your keyword, right? And this is the multiverse of content creation and the algorithm and your brand when it comes to Instagram. And this is why it's a multiverse, because when I get onto YouTube, I'm in a very different dialogue place. I have a very different intention. When I'm on YouTube, I want to take as much time as I want. I want to let my human expression ramble. I want to let my thoughts simmer. I want to hear the ums and the uhs and the pauses and the process that's happening with whatever idea I'm expressing. When it comes to more short film stuff, it's got a little bit of that tonality. It's still I'm not doing it for you, I'm doing it for me. I'm still taking my time with whatever I want to share. There is still some structure and some storytelling techniques that I'm using, but I'm really technically using filmmaking and photography and documentary themes and systems to create that film. I'm not worried about what the algorithm wants from me when it comes to that longer form art form, right? Different part of myself when I go to YouTube. But when I'm on Instagram, I have to show up in another part of myself. When I'm on Instagram, I am, again, if this is a choice that you're making, I am thinking about what do I do and how do I express myself in my artistic patterns, and how can I utilize the algorithm structure around how they promote photography or how they promote drawings or how they promote funny concepts. What can I use in the algorithm structure to put it out there in a way that the algorithm is going to know what to do with it? It's going to know what audience to put it in front of. right? You go to your keyword of whatever it might be. For me, photography, and I haven't been utilizing this on my Instagram. I'm still taking my time with my own brand on there. I don't want it to be growing really at all right now until I'm really grounded in how I'm showing up with my longer form and my intention through YouTube, right? That's the baseline. But with photography, right, there are systems and there's structures of how I need to be creating quote unquote reels or content that the algorithm will immediately see and know exactly what to do with and put it in front of more people. People I don't know, people I do know. It will put it in front of more people because I have created a video that it understands, and it understands how to use it with the intention that it has, right? The algorithm has its own intention, really, around what it's doing with the content that's getting put into it. And so following the algorithm system of flow and the system of hooks and the system of clickbait, right? That's how you're going to find your audience and grow on Instagram. You can't just necessarily try to post whatever you think is going to be going, whatever you want to say on there and act like that's going to do well. If it's not a system that the algorithm knows, it's not going to do anything with it. And then it's just going to sit there. You're going to get 4 likes and that's going to be it. So this is the same thing with all these different platforms. What different part of you are you going to access in these different expressions? Substack, it's a very different, very, very slow, very, very articulated, methodical, written way, right? That can be done in a lot of different ways. Twitter or Threads, right? Very short, very quippy, very, very fast, right? And this is also a personality thing. It's like, what does your personality want to show up in? I was talking to a friend recently and he was like, I don't really know if I want to do this short 60-second, I got to get my idea out. I'm so much more of I'd like to take my time with what I express. I like to take my time with what I share. And it's like, okay, well then don't get overwhelmed by content creation as a whole. You're not going to the right part of yourself when you're expressing, when you're on Instagram. On Instagram, it's fast, it's quippy, it's got to be short. And really, Instagram, just like 6 to 10 second videos, that's what it wants. So if you take the time to express yourself in different ways, you're going to want to go to YouTube. You're going to want to let your ideas go out on that platform. That's the idea. The multiverse of the social media platform, the social media landscape, is what parts of you make sense in what avenue of the platform that you're using, right? How are you showing up in these different platforms, and how are you showing up within yourself within these different platforms? If you're feeling resistance in one of them, you need to look at what part of myself wants to either take longer with this, be shorter with this, be more detail oriented with this, and am I in the right environment for that to come out, right? This gets into a bigger conversation in general with dopamine and where we're at as a culture and where we're at as a society. And again, this brings me back into like why the transition in this next 5/ in the next 15 years is going to be way more towards long form content. For those of us who are really invested in slowness and recognizing that we're being bombarded with information constantly, and it's too much. It's too much for the human psyche. It's too much for the system. This is not how we're designed to be. There's going to be this migration away from short form and into long form, whether that be Rumble, Vimeo, YouTube, right? Find your platform and move there in the sense of information downloads and what can be said and what can be shared on there. There's going to be this migration towards YouTube and towards these longer form places, because as we get a handle as to the impact of this excess information in our psyches, when awareness turns on and when awareness becomes louder, the body adjusts, whether consciously or subconsciously. Typically it happens subconsciously first. There's a rejection of some sort towards whatever thing the awareness is like, whoa, I don't like this. Even if that, like, physical examples, like if I step on a thorn on the ground, I'm not going to continue to like step in that space, right? My awareness is like, whoa, that's painful. I'm going to pull back and go deal with that problem. Same thing. oh, there's way too much coming at my system, I need to slow down. Okay, I need to step back and I need to pivot how I'm interacting with this because it's affecting me, and it's affecting me in a way I don't like, right? And so as the AI slop comes online, and as this whole push towards these computer-driven algorithms come online, there's going to be this push and pull. There's going to be this tango with the human awareness and the technological awareness. And I'm not going into what's behind the technological awareness. That's a different time, different conversation. But there's going to be this push and pull between these two spaces. And as that, and this is already happening, there's already a massive pushback against the AI centers and the technological advancements that are trying to happen. It's like, whoa, we're rushing this. This is massive. We need to slow down. We need to take our time with this. We need to figure out how to plug this in the right way so that everything can thrive. The planet can thrive, water can thrive, our other relatives in nature can thrive, and we can really use the technology to reinstill life into our relatives and into the earth and into trees and into our other mammalian and living friends. And so there's going to be this push and pull, and I think it's something that instead of reacting to it subconsciously, we should be actively reacting to it consciously. And this is what I mean by look at the parts that are playing with yourself when it comes to social media, when it comes to short form, when it comes to long form, when it comes to Instagram, Twitter. Like, how is your body reacting to these things, and how can you start to set up systems where it's like, okay, instead of going down the scroll hole, I'm going to go to YouTube and watch some how-to videos. I'm still getting dopamine. I'm still getting input. I'm still getting this fixation of the mind that's speeding me up, because that's where a lot of us are these days. But I'm not lost in reaction to something I don't care about necessarily, but it's more intentional absorption of something I'm trying to learn, something I want to embody, something I want to exemplify in my life, right? I try to go to videos like this that are conversations where I can hear the humanness, where I can hear ideas being expressed, dynamics being expressed, thoughts being expressed, concepts being expressed about what's happening in the globe right now, about this evolutionary process we're in. And that's me consciously going to the fact that I know I am hooked on the dopamine plug, right? I know that there's way too much dopamine coming into my system. I'm working on slowing that down. I'm working to go to my body, working to go to my meditations, my prayer, these different more spiritual, physical, biological techniques to slow the nervous system down, right? Everything's about the nervous system, where all of the excess information is coming at us because they're trying to dysregulate the nervous system. The nervous system is the battlefield right now. And so instead of subconsciously reacting to it in 5 years, or in 3 years or in 1 year, right, with all this excess stuff coming online, how can we consciously be intentional about reacting to it now and saying, hold on, let me slow down how I'm absorbing ideas. Let me focus what I'm actually looking at when it comes to these screens, and how am I also incorporating, maybe it's not that you're cutting out the reel hole or the scroll hole. Maybe it's that you're inputting an hour every day where you go on a walk and you don't have your phone on you. You don't have this technological piece coming into your system. These are just some thoughts as to how to think about the social media landscape when it comes to what parts to use. Again, we're bringing intention into how we're showing up on these platforms. That intention is helping us with our nervous system to slow it down, regulate it, and allow us to drop into a more intentional process space with our bodies. Valuable, extremely important. We need time, we need to wait, we need silence in our human existence so that we can listen, so that we can hear what spirit or God or whatever you are led by has to say, so that we can listen to ourselves, so that we can listen to our own intentions, so we can listen to our hearts. Super valuable, super important. How are you thinking about that? Is this something that resonates with you? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll chat with you guys soon.